Discover the incredible moment she leaped into a stranger's arms, an unexpected billionaire love. Sarah Jenkins raced through the vibrant streets of Maplewood, her heart pounding in sync with her hurried steps. She could practically taste the closing sunlight, a golden hue casting long shadows as she navigated the familiar path to the community center. Every fiber of her being urged her forward. Her 2 children were waiting for her there, smiles ready to illuminate the day's weariness. With 2 jobs and relentless responsibilities on her shoulders, every second mattered. Yet, amidst her chaos, an unlikely figure emerged. Ethan Hart had returned to Maplewood, the town he'd escaped years ago. A reclusive billionaire, he sought solace in the simplicity of his childhood home after years washed away by the tides of luxury and loneliness. As he ambled down the street, clouds of nostalgia filled his heart. The quaint picket fences and blooming flower beds reminded him of a life he had left behind, a life bursting with genuine laughter and love. What he wasn't prepared for was Sarah. Their paths collided in a beautiful moment. Sarah, lost in her thoughts, dashed forward only to bump into Ethan. Shock rippled through her as she stumbled back. But with the instinct of a woman who cherished her children more than anything, her reaction was one of raw emotion. In a wild moment of vulnerability, she leaped into his arms, a mosaic of surprise, laughter, and urgency framing her leap against their contrasting worlds. The connection was electric. Ethan, stunned yet enchanted, held her effortlessly. This unexpected embrace felt like a reunion of souls lost in the flurry of life. Whispers began spreading through Maplewood, twisting tales of their incredible encounter. Townsfolk couldn't fathom the bond between a struggling single mother and a wealthy man who had everything. All their hopes and prejudices swirled in the air like fall leaves caught in a breath of wind. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Sarah and Ethan shared laughter and playful banter over forgotten ice cream shops and childhood playgrounds, the shadows of societal prejudice thickened around them. It was thrilling, yet terrifying. Friends and family murmured judgment, wary of their blossoming friendship. What would people say? Sarah dreaded their gossip, yet the warmth of Ethan's gaze made her feel seen in ways she had long thought impossible. The weight of expectation pulled at her loyalty to her roots, threatening to tether her to the familiar struggles she faced daily. Ethan offered a glimmering escape, yet her heart clenched with doubt. Would she be cast out if she dared seek happiness beyond her circumstances? Or would Maplewood lose its cherished community spirit for her gain? Just when Sarah thought she could embrace this extraordinary connection, a heartbreaking misunderstanding sent Ethan retreating into his guarded world. Uneasy silence fell around her, doubt swirling like a bitter storm cloud. Could their bond weather the storm brewing in the heart of Maplewood? As Sarah stood on the precipice of change, her heart echoed a single question: would she take that leap of faith into the unknown, or retreat back into the safety of the familiar? Sarah stood frozen on the sidewalk, her heart racing and her breath catching in her throat. The laughter that had buoyed her spirit just moments ago now felt like an echo fading into the distance. Ethan's retreat pierced her more deeply than she expected. She hadn't just leaped into his arms, she'd leaped into something much larger: a chance at happiness, an escape from the weight of her daily grind. But the misunderstanding had thrown everything into chaotic disarray. Where had it gone wrong? Was it her reluctance to accept his offers of help? The moment they had shared had felt like a spark igniting something long buried within her. Yet now, that very spark felt like a flickering candle in a gusty storm. Determined not to let this fizzle out, Sarah quickly pulled herself together. Clenching her fists, she told herself she wouldn't stand idly by. Her children needed more than mere survival, they deserved joy, too. And perhaps, just perhaps, she could find a partnership and unexpected support in this new friendship with Ethan. She turned on her heel, hearing his voice echo in her mind. Maybe we could grab coffee tomorrow? Ethan had suggested, his eyes implying something deeper than just a shared cup. She could still see the smile that lit up his face, warmer than any sunlight that had ever graced Maplewood. Perhaps that glow could guide her through the doubts. With newfound resolve, she strolled back toward the community center, where she knew her children would be. They needed her. Even if the world was messy, even if her relationship with Ethan was complicated, her love for them anchored her. As she pushed open the door, there they were: Lucas, her youngest, spinning in tiny circles, laughing as if the world was a carousel, and Mia, the older, quietly sketching in her notebook, always observing, always seeking beauty in the mundane. "Mama!" They both called, their faces breaking into radiant smiles. For an instant, all the weight on her shoulders dissipated, replaced by the pure joy of motherhood. "What did you two do today?" she asked, her voice warm, trying to shake off the remnants of her encounter with Ethan. "Art time. Look." Lucas beamed, holding up a crayon drawing of a rainbow, smeared with vibrant colors. Sarah felt the familiar pull in her heart. She had to protect this joy. After a quick dinner, they snuggled up on the couch, a mountain of pillows and blankets surrounding them. Sarah tried to share in their laughter, but her thoughts meandered to Ethan. Why hadn't he reached out? Her heart ached for the lightness of that single interaction. With the children finally asleep, Sarah sat on the edge of their shared room, gazing at their peaceful faces. A pang of uncertainty gripped her. If she could just find the courage to untangle the misunderstanding, perhaps a new beginning awaited. She picked up her phone, hesitating, her finger hovering over his contact. But then a thought pierced her mind. What if she was wasting time? She had to decide. Should she pursue this connection with Ethan, risking judgment and disappointment, or should she focus on the safety and familiarity of her current life? Just then, her phone buzzed. It was a notification from a local news app. Ethan Hart opens charity event tonight. A new chapter for his life. A mix of intrigue and anxiety flooded her. Did it mean he was ready to reach out, or did it confirm his retreat? With a deep breath, Sarah made up her mind. She wouldn't let fear dictate her choices. Gathering all her courage, she tapped the link to the event, determined to reclaim her story, one that could intertwine with Ethan's if she allowed it. But as she read the details, the weight of her decision settled in. Would this be the moment her life changed forever, or would it seal her fate in Maplewood, untouched by the magic that came from taking a leap of faith? The car ride to the charity event was a mix of excitement and nervousness. Sarah clutched the steering wheel, her knuckles white as she navigated the winding roads of Maplewood. Lucas and Mia were at their grandmother's, and she had a rare moment of freedom that felt equally invigorating and terrifying. The slight flutter in her stomach echoed how different tonight could be, one simple step leading to uncharted territories. As she pulled into the parking lot, Sarah noticed the building was decked out in twinkling lights, casting a warm glow over the sidewalk. A crowd buzzed with laughter and chatter. It felt like the heart of the community beating strong. But right now, all that mattered was Ethan. Would he see her as she truly was? Or would her insecurities come crashing down like a wave threatening to pull her under? Stepping out of the car, she took a moment to steady herself. The crisp autumn air filled her lungs, and she closed her eyes for a second, savoring the fresh scent of fallen leaves. This was her chance. Bracing her shoulders back, she entered the venue. The sounds greeted her like a symphony, the clinking of glasses, soft music echoing in the background, and familiar voices mingling together. Navigating through the sea of people, Sarah felt both out of place and at once hopeful. Here was Ethan, mingling effortlessly, his laughter echoing like a melody that pulled her in. He was in a tailored suit, the kind that seemed to fit him perfectly, giving his demeanor an air of confidence that was hard to resist. She caught his eye, and for a split second, the world around them blurred. Ethan's smile widened as he made his way toward her. It felt electric, a connection that hummed between them. "Sarah. I'm so glad you came," he said, his voice deep and inviting. "I wanted to support you," she replied, trying to project calm even while her insides twisted. "Thank you for that. It means a lot," he said, slipping into more familiar territory as they gravitated toward a quieter corner of the room. As they spoke, Sarah allowed herself to lean into the conversation. They shared stories of their children, a reflection of their lives tangling together. Lucas and Mia were mentioned more than once, and she noticed how Ethan listened, his attention unwavering. For that moment, her self-doubt faded like a whisper against the promises of the evening. Then, with a gentle shift, Ethan leaned closer, his expression turning serious. "You know, I thought about what happened the other day. I didn't handle it well. I didn't want you to feel pressured." Sarah's heart raced. This was it, she could untangle the mess between them. "Ethan," a loud crash erupted from the other side of the room, breaking the spell they were under. Gasps echoed, and heads turned. Sarah's eyes darted over, spotting a table tipped over, wine glasses scattered across the floor like broken dreams. The shock jolted through her, and in an instant, she lost her nerve. "Excuse me, I'll be back," she stammered, her breath quickening as she made her way toward the chaos, but as she approached, the atmosphere shifted. It wasn't just the fallen glasses or the spilled wine. The culprit was someone she recognized, an old acquaintance, a moment from her past that threatened to unravel everything she had just built. Suddenly, questions whirled in her mind. Were they here to reconnect or to confront old ghosts? How could this unexpected turn of events challenge the spark that had just ignited between her and Ethan? And as the evening wore on, Sarah found herself at a crossroads. What choice would she make when the dust settled, and who would she ultimately emerge as on the other side? Sarah's heart pounded in her chest. The noise of the crowd faded as she locked eyes with the familiar face from her past. It was Jenna, a former classmate who had once been everything Sarah was not: confident, popular, and seemingly perfect. Now, with a slight smirk, Jenna surveyed the room like a queen returning to her court. "Sarah! Long time no see," she called out, her tone dripping with a mix of sweetness and mockery. For a moment, Sarah's throat felt dry, her voice lost among the swirling emotions. Jenna had no idea how long Sarah had fought against her insecurities. "Hi, Jenna," she managed, trying to keep her own smile steady. As Jenna waved her hand dismissively, Sarah felt the weight of the moment. Should she cling to the connection she was trying to build with Ethan or acknowledge this ghost from her past? "Just thought I'd come and support the community," Sarah said, her own words sounding wobbly in her ears. Jenna flicked her hair back, clearly unimpressed. "You mean support Ethan, right? Didn't he know you were still in touch?" The barb stung, and Sarah's warmth faded. Was this how others viewed her? Someone who could only connect through a man? But before she could respond, Jenna leaned in, lowering her voice conspiratorially. "You know, Ethan has a reputation. And you? Well, I didn't think you were his type." That was it, something inside Sarah snapped. All the insecurities she had fought hard against rushed back like water bursting through a dam. For a brief moment, she was that shy girl again, the one who had never felt good enough. But through it all, one thought rose above the rest: she was stronger now. "I'm here for more than just him," Sarah said firmly, her voice louder than she intended. "You might be surprised to learn I have a life of my own." Jenna looked taken aback, her smirk faltering. Sarah could see a flicker of respect in her eyes but quickly covered it with an icy smile. "Good for you. It's about time you stood up for yourself. But let's be real, it's Ethan's name that draws the crowd." As Jenna walked away, Sarah's chest tightened, anger burning in her veins. But there was also a newfound determination. She had come here tonight to reconnect with Ethan, and Jenna wasn't going to derail her. With a deep breath, Sarah turned back towards the area where Ethan had been standing. He was watching her, his brow furrowed in concern. As she approached him, the space between them felt charged, electric. "What was that about?" Ethan asked gently. "It was nothing," she replied, shaking her head as she forced a smile. "Just an old acquaintance trying to stir some drama." His gaze held hers, searching for a deeper truth. "You held your ground well, though." I admire that. She felt her cheeks heat, and for a moment, the chaos of the room faded away. Thanks, I needed to remind myself that I'm here for a reason. But as they locked eyes, Sarah felt that familiar flutter return, the pull of emotion rising within her like a flame rekindling. This wasn't just about Ethan's presence or past dynamics, it was about her reclaiming her power. Just then, the lights dimmed, and a spotlight lit up on the stage. An announcement was made about the evening's charity fundraiser. Sarah felt a wave of anxiety wash over her. She had come tonight to support, but now it seemed the expectation was shifting. Would she have to prove herself further in front of everyone? Do you want to step outside for a breather? Ethan suggested, his voice a soothing balm against her nerves. She nodded, grateful for the chance to escape the madness. Outside, the air was crisp and refreshing. Stars dotted the sky, and the quiet surrounded them like a protective blanket. Look, you don't have to prove anything to anyone, Ethan said, his gaze intense, leaving no room for misinterpretation. You're extraordinary just as you are. She took a deep breath, feeling a sense of grounding in the moment. It was more than just words, it was a promise of support that she had craved. And just as she was about to respond, the sound of muffled shouting erupted from inside. Both turned toward the building, adrenaline sparking again. What now? What would happen next? The shouting rose in intensity, piercing the quiet night. Sarah's heart raced as she exchanged worried glances with Ethan. This was supposed to be a night of hope and connection, not chaos and fear. What was that? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. I don't know, Ethan replied, his brow furrowing further, but his eyes were bright with concern. Let's check it out. They rushed back inside, weaving through the crowd that was now buzzing with tension. People were whispering, eyes darting towards the stage where the commotion originated. A group near the front had gathered, and the atmosphere felt charged, as if they were witnessing a spectacle. As they pushed forward, Sarah caught snippets of the conversation. Did you hear what he said? I can't believe it. Panic twisted in her stomach, and dread settled like a stone in her chest. When they reached the front, she stopped short. A man was standing on the stage, his face flushed with rage as he confronted someone off mic. She couldn't see who it was, but she could feel the energy around him, electrifying and threatening. Everyone deserves the truth. You can't hide anymore. He shouted, pacing back and forth. The crowd was a mix of shock and curiosity, eyes glued to the unfolding drama. What on earth is going on? Sarah murmured, her heart pounding against her ribs. Ethan squeezed her hand, steadying her. Stay close to me, he said firmly, but she could sense his own tension beneath the calm exterior. Suddenly, another figure stepped forward from the shadows. Jenna. Sarah felt a wave of irritation wash over her, but Jenna's expression was far from smug. It was grim, almost afraid. Let's keep this civil. Jenna urged, raising her hands to calm the crowd, but her voice was shaky. We don't want to embarrass anyone here. This caught Sarah off guard. Why was Jenna suddenly trying to fight the tide? The guy on stage laughed, a derisive sound that echoed through the room. Civil. After what they did. He pointed to the crowd, his finger accusingly tracing the faces around him, locking onto Jenna for a beat too long. You think any of this ends here? What did they do? Sarah whispered to Ethan, her voice trembling. I have no idea, he replied, tightening his grip on her hand, his eyes scanning the room for answers. The man's voice rose again, louder, steely. It's public knowledge now. Time for a reckoning. His fervor sent an uneasy ripple through the crowd. The atmosphere soured as whispers morphed into murmurs of anxiety, members of the community exchanging worried glances. Sarah felt dizzy, like the ground beneath her was shifting. What did this mean for her and Ethan? What had she stepped into tonight? Her stomach churned with thoughts of Jenna, of Ethan, and now this stranger threatening to expose a truth she didn't fully understand. Before she could voice her concerns, Ethan leaned closer. Let us get out of here. I don't like this. For a moment, she hesitated. A part of her wanted to stay and unravel the chaos. But another part tugged at her, the growing realization that some truths could change everything. Yeah, okay, she said, forcing herself to follow as he led her towards a side exit. Just as they turned, the lights dimmed even further, a flash of brilliance illuminating the stage one last time, and then, silence. They stepped outside, the chill night air stinging their cheeks. The sudden quiet felt disorienting compared to the chaos inside. What just happened? Sarah asked, struggling to catch her breath, the adrenaline still thrumming in her veins. Her mind raced, grappling with unanswered questions. Ethan didn't answer right away. Instead, he rubbed the back of his neck, casting a wary glance toward the door. I don't know what's going on, but we need to be prepared for something bigger. Unease settled over Sarah again, a storm brewing just beyond the horizon. Something bigger than what? Just then, the door swung open, and a figure darted out. It was Jenna, breathing heavily, her eyes wide and desperate. You both need to hear this. It's about the fundraiser, and Ethan. Sarah's stomach tightened at her words. What could Jenna possibly reveal that would change everything? As Jenna's gaze locked onto Ethan, Sarah felt an unsettling certainty that the truth was finally on the verge of breaking loose. Jenna's breaths came in sharp gasps as she stumbled closer to them, her eyes flickering between Sarah and Ethan with urgency. The night air felt heavy, charged with a sense of impending revelation. Ethan, you have to listen to me. They're planning something big, Jenna said, her voice trembling. It's all tied to the fundraiser and your family. Ethan's face paled. What do you mean? What are they planning? His voice was steady, but Sarah could hear the tremor beneath the surface. I can't say it all here. There are people who are watching. Jenna glanced over her shoulder, her anxiety palpable. I found out about it earlier tonight when I overheard them. They think they can take you down, Ethan. They have dirt on your family, and they're going to expose it at the fundraiser. Sarah felt the wind knocked out of her. What kind of dirt? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Something that could ruin everything, Jenna said, her eyes pleading. I can't give you all the details right now, but it's related to decisions that were made years ago, decisions your family buried. It will destroy your reputation. Ethan clenched his fists, his jaw tight. He was processing the weight of Jenna's words, each syllable hitting him harder than the last. What the hell did my parents do? I don't know all the specifics, Jenna admitted, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. But it was bad enough that they wanted it buried. If this gets out, it won't only affect you, it will shatter everything. A sense of dread enveloped Sarah. What had Ethan's family done? She needed to support him, but a part of her was terrified. She didn't know if she would be strong enough for what loomed ahead. Ethan took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. How do you know all this? Jenna hesitated, her eyes darting again toward the building. There's a lot I haven't told you both. I was trying to find my footing in this community. I thought the fundraiser would be a fresh start, but... She shook her head, visibly shaken. I overheard them talking. And I didn't want to believe it was true. What do we do now? Sarah asked, her voice shaking as she looked at the two of them. The night felt surreal, the shadows around them darker and more foreboding. Ethan's gaze hardened, determination settling in. We can't let them ruin this. We need to figure out what they're planning and get ahead of it. But how? Jenna interjected, her voice laced with fear. You can't just confront them. They have leverage. Then we need to gather our own. Ethan's voice was gravelly, filled with resolve. We need proof. If they think they can come after us, we need to show them that we're not going down without a fight. Sarah felt a flicker of hope, though it was still mixed with apprehension. They had to rise above this storm together. We can do this, she said, trying to sound more confident than she felt. But where do we even start? Jenna raised her hands, her brow furrowing. There's a meeting scheduled tomorrow, late afternoon. Some of the big donors are getting together. If we could attend, we might overhear something pivotal, something that could help us understand their intentions. Ethan nodded, his mind racing. I'll find a way to get us in. We need to be ready. Ready for what? Sarah whispered, the chill of the night creeping back in. For a truth that could change everything, he replied, locking eyes with her. She could see the flicker of fear in his gaze. Just then, the door swung open again, and a few more figures spilled out, glancing around nervously. They noticed Jenna, their expressions wary, and one of them called out, "Hey! You can't be out here." The urgency sharpened. They had to hurry. Sarah felt the weight of the night pressing down, but deep within her, a fire ignited. They moved closer together, united by purpose. Uncertainty loomed overhead, but so did a sense of shared strength. As they sped away from the building, laughter and clinking glass echoed from inside. The world felt so normal compared to the turmoil they faced. With each step, Sarah knew they were racing against time. Are you really ready for what tomorrow might bring? Jenna asked, glancing back at Ethan. I have to be, Ethan replied, determination shaping his resolve. As they turned the corner, Sarah felt her heart quicken. Could they truly prepare for whatever was coming? Shadows danced behind them, and uncertainty loomed ahead. And as the weight of the dark night settled in, they clutched tightly to the hopes of daylight, not knowing what awaited them at dawn. As dawn broke, the sky transformed from inky black to a soft lavender hue. The air felt fresh, but the weight of the night still clung to Sarah like a fog, heavy and suffocating. She glanced over at Ethan, whose face was set in a grim line, his determination now tinged with worry. They had spent most of the night talking through their plan, but even the best-laid plans had holes. Are you sure you want to do this, Ethan? Jenna asked, her voice a mix of concern and encouragement. It's not just about you anymore. It's about your family too. Ethan looked more resolute than she had ever seen him. I can't just sit back and let this happen. I have to protect what my family built, the legacy they left behind, even if it's tarnished. Sarah felt a knot tighten in her stomach. As much as she wanted to support him, the stakes seemed impossibly high. What if this isn't just about protecting your family's reputation? What if it destroys everything we've worked for? Then we'll fight it together, Ethan said, the steel in his voice cutting through Sarah's fears. She nodded, willing herself to believe in their strength. They arrived at the venue, a grand hall decked in shimmering lights and adorned with flowers, a stark contrast to the turmoil of their mission. Wealthy patrons in sharp suits and elegant gowns mingled, their laughter echoing through the halls. Yet beneath the glamorous surface, tension buzzed like static electricity. We blend in, we listen, Ethan instructed, scanning the crowd. Remember, we only need to overhear one thing that might help us. As they stepped through the entrance, Sarah felt invisible. The laughter seemed too loud, the chatter too bright. She couldn't shake the feeling of unease creeping up her spine. They moved together, weaving through clusters of guests, keeping their eyes peeled for anything unusual. Minutes turned to an hour, and every conversation felt like a dead end. Just as Sarah was starting to lose hope, she overheard a snippet. One patron, a man in an expensive tailored suit, was speaking in hushed tones. The documents will be leaked by the end of the week, right before the gala. It's perfect timing. Her heart skipped a beat. She turned to Ethan and Jenna, urgency coursing through her. Did you hear that? They're planning to release the information this week. Ethan's expression darkened. We have to find out what documents they're talking about. Before they could strategize their next move, a tall woman in an elaborate gown sauntered up to them, her eyes sparkling with mischief. Darling, are you new here? She asked, her tone condescending yet oddly charming. Just thought we'd check out the event, Sarah replied, forcing a smile. Well, if you're looking for something exciting, you're in for a treat, the woman said, leaning in closer, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. I heard there's a rumor floating around about the Parker family. Ethan's breath caught. What kind of rumor? Oh, you'll just have to wait and see, she replied, her smile widening. With that, she drifted back into the crowd, leaving a cloud of uncertainty hovering between them. What rumor? Jenna whispered, looking between them. I need to know what she meant, Ethan said, a fire igniting in his gaze. This could be our chance. Sarah's heart raced. They had stumbled onto something much larger than they anticipated. But could they really confront the powerful forces at play? Let's split up, Jenna suggested, her voice steadier now. You two stay close, and I'll try to get some more intel. As they ventured through the throng of guests, the stakes grew impossibly high. Would they be able to uncover the truth before it unraveled everything? When Sarah caught Ethan's eye, she saw the same determination mirrored there. Whatever came next, they were in it together. With each person brushed past, the tension curled tighter around them. Are you ready to face whatever lies ahead? Sarah asked, nerves tightening her chest. Ethan squeezed her hand gently, his gaze intense. More than ever. But just as they gathered their wits, a figure from Ethan's past emerged from the crowd, a face he never expected to see again. And Sarah felt the ground beneath her begin to shift. Who would this new person bring into their already tangled web? And could combating the truth pull them further apart? The answer lingered just out of reach, a weight pressing down on the moment. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. Standing there, in the middle of the glamorous crowd, was Claire, his sister's best friend from college. The last time he had seen her was at a family gathering 3 years ago. She had always struck him as a free spirit, with her wild curls and infectious laughter. But now, she looked different, sharper, more polished, and undeniably fierce. Ethan. She called out, her voice slicing through the backdrop of laughter and clinking glasses. The warmth in her tone clashed with the icy wave of disbelief washing over him. Claire, he managed, forcing a smile that felt far from genuine. Memories came rushing back, happy moments, but tangled with regret. His heart raced. What was she doing here? Is that really you? She approached him, her bright eyes dancing with recognition. Then, her gaze shifted to Sarah, appraising her with curiosity. And who is this? This is Sarah, Ethan introduced, keeping his tone neutral. My friend. Sarah stepped forward, trying to mask her apprehension with a friendly smile, but Ethan could sense her tension. Nice to meet you, she said, her voice steady despite the chaos swirling inside. Claire's expression shifted slightly, eyes narrowing in slight suspicion. So, are you enjoying the gala? It's quite the affair. But her gaze kept darting between Ethan and Sarah, as if assessing whether she had stumbled upon something significant or just an innocent gathering. Ethan struggled with his thoughts. Claire was a wild card he hadn't accounted for in their strategy. We were just looking for something exciting, Sarah chimed in, her tone brightening. And it sounds like you might have some fun stories to share. Claire's expression brightened, her curiosity piqued. Exciting? You have no idea. This place is alive with secrets and schemers who stop at nothing to protect their interests. Ethan felt the familiar knot tighten again at the pit of his stomach. Were they making a mistake by allowing Claire into their orbit? But before he could suggest a change of direction, Claire continued. I overheard some murmurs about the Parker family. Something about a scandal involving leaked documents. Every instinct told Ethan to protect their plan, to safeguard the information they had just acquired, but Claire seemed oblivious to the turmoil in his mind. Maybe we can help each other out, she offered with a conspiratorial smirk. Help each other? Sarah whispered, catching Ethan's attention. Sure. Claire beamed, unperturbed. I know everyone here. If you're eager to dive into some juicy gossip, I can be your guide. Ethan was struck by how easily Claire had fallen back into the role of confidant. But could he trust her now? The stakes felt even higher. Would her presence put their plan at risk, or could her intel actually be the key to uncovering the truth they desperately needed? I don't know, Ethan said slowly, uncertainty creeping into his voice. Look, Claire said, her tone shifting to a more serious note. I'm known for being the one who finds out what others don't want to be found out. You need someone like me on your side. I can make this work. Her piercing gaze settled on him, and for a moment, he felt the weight of their shared past. Let us do it, Sarah said suddenly, determination breaking through her doubts. We need all the help we can get. He turned to Sarah, seeing the spark in her eyes. But the unease in his chest persisted. As they prepared to follow Claire deeper into the crowd, a shadow passed over Ethan's feature. What else had Claire uncovered, and how would it change everything they thought they knew? A sinking feeling settled in. There was no turning back now. But while secrets might weave them closer, they also had the power to tear them apart. Ethan took a deep breath. Okay, lead the way, but we need to stay cautious. Who knows what we might uncover? With every step, he could feel the tension swell. What would they discover about the Parkers and about each other in this shimmering maze of secrets? Claire led them through the thrumming crowd, her confident strides painting a stark contrast to the swirl of uncertainty swirling in Ethan's mind. Each step felt heavy with implications. Sarah walked beside him, her expression a mix of excitement and wariness. Just keep your ears open, Claire said, glancing back over her shoulder with a grin that felt just a little too wide. This place is crawling with stories waiting to be told. Ethan scanned the room, half listening to Claire, half lost in his own thoughts. The extravagant setting, a grand ballroom adorned with crystal chandeliers and plush carpets, made him feel small and out of place. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were playing a dangerous game by inviting Claire into their mess. He remembered how fiercely she could attach herself to an idea, to a rumor, and how it often brought complications. As they approached a small gathering, Claire's voice dropped to a conspiratorial whisper. That's Derek Parker over there. Her finger pointed subtly to a tall figure standing alone, his dark suit clinging to his frame like a shadow. He looked sharp, with a confident smile that suggested he was used to getting exactly what he wanted. He's the heir, Claire continued. No one really knows what he's up to, but I've heard talk he's involved in some shady business deals. If you want to know about leaked documents, he might hold the key. A knot formed in Ethan's stomach. The Parker family was the very reason they had come tonight. But the more Claire revealed, the more Ethan questioned the integrity of their mission. Was he ready to confront someone so pivotal in this world of secrets? Let us at least say hi, Claire said. You never know who might have information. Before Ethan could voice his apprehensions, Claire had already crossed the room, her purposeful approach drawing attention. Sarah followed, but Ethan hesitated. The fear of being discovered, of losing everything they worked for, pulled at him like a heavy chain. Ethan, Sarah said softly, her eyes locking onto his. We need this. If Claire's right, we can find out what we need faster. Trust me. He appreciated her resolve but felt his heart race at the risk. What if we get too close to something dangerous? He murmured, watching Claire charm her way toward the enigmatic Parker. Then we'll handle it together. Just like that, the wave of anxiety washed away. He took a deep breath, steadied himself, and followed them to Derek. Claire. Long time no see. Derek's laughter rumbled through the air as they approached, his tone genuine yet niggling with an undertone Ethan couldn't quite place. Derek, good to see you. We were just talking about you. Claire replied with a bright smile, as if they were old pals, while Ethan stood back, assessing the dynamics as they unfolded. Oh really? Derek said, his attention now shifting to Ethan. He offered a polite smile, but there was a coldness to his demeanor. And you are? Ethan. His voice came out steadier than he felt. Just here for the gala. Just a guest, huh? Derek's eyes narrowed, the smile still plastered on his face but with a predatory glint. You know how these events can be. Always have someone watching. Ethan's heart raced, he could sense the challenge lurking in Derek's words. Before he could respond, Claire piped up, actually, Ethan is interested in some recent developments. I think he might have some questions for you. Her eyes sparkled with mischief, treating this as a game, thrilling to its danger. Ethan's throat tightened. As Claire's words hung in the air, he knew they were at a crossroads. Would Derek guide them closer to the truth, or would their curiosity lead them into a storm of trouble? But whether they were prepared or not, the wheels were already set in motion. And as Ethan faced Derek's scrutinizing gaze, he couldn't shake the feeling he was on the brink of something explosive. Let us see how deep the rabbit hole goes, he thought, mind already racing ahead as the atmosphere thickened with tension. In that moment, he realized this night was going to unravel far more than just the Parkers' secrets. It could bring the truth of their own tangled realities crashing down around them. Would he come out unscathed? Or would this gamble change everything in ways he never anticipated? The challenges ahead loomed larger than before. The echoes of clinking glasses and laughter faded into the background as tension thickened around Sarah, Ethan, and the ever-watchful Derek. Ethan felt the pulse of the room quicken. They were treading on shaky ground, where secrets and lies were intricately woven into the fabric of Maplewood's elite. Questions, huh? Derek leaned forward, a smirk playing at the edges of his lips. Interesting choice of words, Ethan. What makes you think you're entitled to them? Ethan's jaw tightened. I heard a rumor, about leaked documents. Something that concerns your family. The air crackled with electricity. Claire leaned in closer, almost buzzing with anticipation. Sarah held her breath, nerves racing as she focused on Derek's reaction. Instead of flaring up like a wounded beast, he merely chuckled a low, infuriating sound. You're really digging for dirt tonight, huh? I admire the ambition. He glanced at Claire with a conspiratorial grin. But young, naive men often dig their own graves. Ethan's fists clenched. This isn't a game. If it's true, the repercussions will be far-reaching. We deserve to know what's at stake. And who exactly is we? Derek's eyes narrowed, assessing. Your little group of misfits has no business meddling in family affairs. That was it, underestimating them only fueled the fire in Sarah's heart. She stepped forward, her voice steady but laced with undeniable strength. We're not misfits, Derek. We're family. And we're here to protect the community, not just you, before it all comes crashing down. Derek blinked in surprise, clearly taken aback by her boldness. The atmosphere shifted slightly, the crowd behind them buzzing with tension as others began to tune in. Family? He repeated mockingly. What do you know about family? And what do you know about loyalty? Ethan shot back, feeling his voice rise. If this gets out, it won't just destroy you, it'll ruin multiple lives, people you don't even know. For a split second, Derek faltered. Something flickered behind his eyes, a hint of conflict. Sarah seized the moment, her heart racing. If you're protecting your family, why not come clean? Because it's easier to let the truth spill out in chaos. Derek narrowed his eyes, considering. You don't know what you're asking. Then make us understand, Ethan pressed. Help us to help you. We can't let this become a scandal. The silence stretched out, thick with weighty possibilities. Then, as if deciding the outcome of the moment, Derek leaned back inside. All right, I'll give you something. But it will come at a cost. What do you want? Sarah asked, heart pounding. With this kind of leverage, it's simple, he said, his smile sliming across his face. I want my reputation squeaky clean. You help me smooth this over, and I'll let you know what you're dealing with. Otherwise we expose everything, right? Ethan interrupted, his voice low with resolve. Derek nodded, a semblance of agreement forming. Precisely. As Sarah looked at Ethan, the reality of the situation loomed like a towering shadow. Are you willing to gamble with your career and your family's future? Ethan leaned in, determination coursing through his veins. If this is our only shot at keeping the truth from unraveling, then yes. I'll do whatever it takes. You can either fight this with us or watch it burn. Derek paused, measuring the resolve mirrored in both Sarah's and Ethan's expressions. Fine, he finally said. Meet me tomorrow afternoon at the old barn on the outskirts of town. I'll bring the documents. Just remember, once the truth is exposed, there's no going back. Before Sarah could reply, Derek disappeared into the crowd, leaving behind a whirlpool of emotions. The tension in the air felt like a jarring release, one tinged unevenly with fear and relief. We did it, Claire murmured, a glimmer of admiration coloring her tone. You two were brave. Brave is one word for it, Sarah said, her heart still racing. But tomorrow is going to change everything. Ethan took Sarah's hand in his, squeezing gently. Whatever happens, we face it together. We're going to protect what matters most. As they left the gala, the stars seemed to pulse overhead, indicating a night that would lead into a dawn neither had expected. They were stepping into a fray, but with unity came strength. Sarah felt an overwhelming sense of resolve wash over her like warm sunlight. Together, they would weather the storm, facing the truth head-on because they were stronger together than apart. The stakes were high, but the love for their families and community outweighed any fear. The next morning held promises of revelations, and as the dawn broke, it lit the path ahead with courage, a chance to rewrite their destinies. That it was time to leap towards the truth, and whatever happened next, they would not just stand on the sidelines. They would jump into the fray together, united by a cause greater than themselves, a bond forged in adversity. Now, more than ever, they needed to face the day with their hearts wide open and their spirits ready to soar. Don't forget, subscribe immediately to the channel so you never miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm with positive energy. Comment your feelings about the ending, we want to hear every single one of your thoughts. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who would love to witness this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Your help means the world.